Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Trio Planet, the YouTube channel where we talk most things media. I am your host for today's review. I am Azteral, joined by the wonderful, the enigmatic, the uninscrutable Jordan.
Hey everybody, I have no idea what half of those words meant, but thank you.
Wonderful. And today is Mandalorian, episode number 4, chapter 20, titled The Foundling.
Yeah.
So, Mandalorian, episode number 4, The Foundling. We've just watched it. Man, what an episode.
We were questioning the length of it, but now we are just going to
It is understandable.
We are just going to shut up about the length of these shows.
The fact that they managed to do so much with so little surprised me.
We got a fucking... we got an Order 66 flashback. Come on.
We basically got the entirety of Grogu's Order 66 experience.
Yeah.
Plus a Mandalorian hunting party. Plus a rescue mission. Plus Mandalorian culture.
I'm not kidding. I was in fucking tears. I was actually, like, seeing Grogu's face. Oh my god. It was really good episode, but yeah, you get to your breakdown, I guess, then.
Well, the episode, like many this season, begins on a desert planet. It's a common occurrence in this show now. We're on the planet of where the Mandalorian covert has taken refuge. I don't know the name. I don't know if they've said the name.
I don't think they have.
But we open basically on a Mandalorian training camp. All the Mandos, all the younglings, all the foundlings are training in many different forms of combat. There's blasters, there's vibroblades, there's darts, there's all sorts of stuff. We see Bo-Katan walking through them, who is, of course, now a member of the Way, a member of the Creed. And she spots little Grogu sat with a bunch of rocks around him. And I believe he's trying to force lift them. But it turns out they're not rocks. They're like hermit crabs.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he force lifts them. I don't know. I thought it was, but then I saw that it was a living creature.
Then Din comes over. We love Din. And Din's like, come on, little man, you gotta go train. And he's being like an actual dad. And he's pitting him against, I believe, this kid. Well, I know the kid is Paz Vizsla's son. We've watched the episode, but we don't know that at this point. Well, we sort of knew it was his son. We sort of theorized that it probably was.
Yeah, because he cared a lot.
He looked a bit too proud of the kid when he was getting his helmet. But Grogu's pitted against him, and the kid is given the option by Din to choose the weapon by which they train, and the kid chooses darts. So they both get tiny little wrist launchers that have 3 paint darts in them. First to score 3 hits wins. We get a nice little scene where Bo-Katan tells Grogu that her dad was exactly like Din in this moment, and he's just proud of him. Grogu takes 2 shots to the chest, and Din kneels down and he's sort of like, "You're embarrassing me, kid. I know what you can do.
I just think it's because Grogu didn't want to show who he was to them."
Yeah. And so, upon hearing his dad give him confirmation that he can indeed use the Force, Grogu flips around over the child like Master Yoda in Episode 2 of the prequel trilogy, and then shoots the kid 3 times in the chest, and is the greatest Mandalorian I've ever seen. That's basically my takeaway from that scene. Grogu is the best Mandalorian. We then get a scene. The kid storms off after losing because he's upset good old Dad Vizsla. And the kid's abducted by a winged pterodactyl-esque creature. The Mandalorians give chase, but their jetpacks run out of fuel. Probably not the most economical way to travel. But Bo-Katan has got in her ship, which I'm nicknaming the Arrow for now, until she gives it a name. And she follows it to the lair. And she gets back after everyone's returned, and she's like, "Listen, I followed it to its lair, kept a high altitude. I know where it lives. Let's get a hunting party together. Let's go get it." Armor is like, "Yeah, sounds like a plan. I'll give you guys some long rope so that you can climb the mountain a bit better." They leave, and Grogu is left behind with the armorer. Honestly, the armorer, my favorite character.
Also says that he has lost that thing many times because his jetpack running out. So it seems that they have had a lot of their people being taken by that thing.
Yeah. So Grogu is left behind with the armorer. Armorer, by the way, slowly becoming my favorite character in the show.
The armorer is really fucking cool. Like, her knowledge of like what she says about the Mandalorian culture, you can really tell that she really cares.
Yeah, she was a bit of a bitch in Book of Boba Fett when she told him that he wasn't a Mandalorian anymore. But now she's pretty fucking cool.
Like, obviously, she had to say that because it's their how they are. But now he's back in their culture, in their good graces. Yeah, she's a lot better.
Grogu goes inside the cave to the Forge. The Forge is, in the armorer's words, the heart of Mandalorian culture. In the Way's eyes, everyone is like the armor that is forged there.
Yeah.
The tribulations you go through mold you, and the hardships you endure refine you. While Grogu's watching her make something, of which we don't know what it is just yet in the episode, Grogu has a nice little flashback to Order 66. A nice little flashback, probably a bit too nice. Grogu watches his friends die.
Yeah.
Basically. And they put him in an elevator as all of his masters are gunned down. And the door opens, and a gentleman walks in, a Jedi with 2 lightsabers. So he's got Jar Kai.
I think he picks up the one from that Jedi who got in the elevator before being killed.
But the Jedi himself is played by none other than Ahmed Best, who some of you may know as the voice and actor behind Jar Jar Binks in the prequel trilogy. In this, obviously, he's given a bit more time to shine. He absolutely annihilates a bunch of clones.
Yeah, I was surprised that he chose to return, because obviously he went through a lot with like Jar Jar and that. Like, if you know who he is, you'll know that he really didn't have a good time after his role as Jar Jar. But he's started doing well for himself now, but to see him come back and actually show that he is a really good actor, yeah, I never had a problem with Jar Jar. But still, yeah, I think he's great.
His character in this episode does indeed have a name. I have just checked IMDb. His name is Kelleran Beq.
Kelleran Beq.
Indeed, it's a pretty cool Jedi name.
That is that is a really cool name to be.
However, he is apparently an already established figure in Star Wars.
Is he?
However, we don't know much about him.
Okay.
He was a Jedi Master who supervised Padawans as they went through their Jedi trials, and he was assisted by a protocol droid named AD3 and an astromech named LXR5. So basically, he was a Jedi teacher.
Right.
So pretty cool.
It's probably why he chose to protect Grogu.
Yeah, probably.
It seems like Grogu obviously was the only youngling who wasn't in that room during Order 66.
We do get a nice shot of the Jedi Temple aflame. They do like this image, I believe. And Kelleran Beq is getting chased by Republic-issued gunships through the motorways of Coruscant. And he escapes them by going into a tram tunnel, which you might remember as something similar in last week's episode that Dr. Pershing got on.
Yeah.
And they come out of that tunnel and you'll get a quick glimpse of the same mountain rock that was seen last episode as well.
It's
Then
cool because
they
we got like two different eras of what.
seen the rock, yeah.
Yeah, seeing what it looked like, and obviously seeing what Coruscant looked like.
Kelleran then takes Grogu to a landing pad where I believe it is a Nabooian starfighter is waiting for them with a bunch of like soldier guard people. The soldier and guard people lay down their lives so that Kelleran and Grogu can escape, and they fly out into the atmosphere getting chased by interceptor craft and enter hyperspace. And then Grogu flashes back to reality. But I don't believe there goes gravity. But we should remember that post-traumatic stress disorder does not belong in Star Wars, as Star Wars theory will tell you. And so Grogu snaps back and is immediately greeted by the armorer, presenting him with a chess piece. Well, a little circular disc with the clan Mudhorn symbol that goes underneath his robe.
I was wondering where you were going to put that joke.
I was like debating it in my head. I was like going through like where would be a good point to throw it, and I was like, yeah, I'll throw it in with the PTSD joke. Throw it in with that.
Jesus.
I think that was a good place. So Grogu gets his armor, and he's pretty happy about it. He's now foundling Grogu. Meanwhile, Din, Bo-Katan Kryze, Paz Vizsla, and a bunch of unnamed Mandalorians arrive at the foothills inside of the Arrow, which I'm now finding that is a badass name for a ship.
Yeah, he gave Bo-Katan's ship a name.
But it just looks like an arrow.
To be honest, though, it'd be cool if that was the name and you just ended up guessing it at a random.
Bro, that'd be fun. I'd be like impressed with us. Yeah, so they're hunting down the big winged creature that stole Paz Vizsla's son, who we don't know yet that is Paz Vizsla's son. So pretend I didn't say that.
Yeah.
They trek for a while, and then they reach the bottom of the precipice that the creature has made its nest, and they decide that they're going to camp for the night. While that kid could be getting absolutely devoured by God knows what. And they sit by a fire, and they're handing out rations. And Bo-Katan asks a question that I think we've asked multiple times: how the fuck do they eat with the helmets on when other people are around? It turns out in the Way's culture, in the Creed's culture, the Children of the Watch, it is customary for when rations are handed out, each member go off and find a secluded place where they can remove their helmet without being seen by anyone else and eat.
Yeah. It's not like they aren't allowed to take the helmet off. It's a thing of that they're only allowed to take it off when no one can see them.
And as Bo-Katan is about to go do that, Paz Vizsla tells her that because she is the leader of this hunting party, she gets the honor of sitting by the fire. This is the way.
Which we found cool because,
it just
to be
built
honest,
culture.
It built culture, and seeing the Mandalorian culture being played out in this season, because some of the past seasons were about Grogu and Mando, mainly about the whole thing of the helmet stuff and stuff like that. But then this season's more about the culture of being a Mandalorian and what it's all about.
I agree. Then we cut to morning, I believe, and they're dusting the fire off with some sand. And it's time to scale this spire. And we get probably, it's going to sound weird, but probably my favourite scene in all of Star Wars, which is just them climbing the mountain using Mandalorian tech, which I just found really cool.
Like, surprised because, like, even I was saying through the episode, it's a lot like what real rock climbers do as well, mixed in with how Star Wars do it.
It's like really weird because it's like one long take of them climbing the spire with like a few cuts as they're making progress.
Yeah.
So it's not like a full long take where they climb the spire in real time, but like the scene itself of them climbing is like a solid like 3 minutes. And it shows like them using their rope launchers to like scale parts where they've not got grips, using the line that they create to like tether themselves so that if they fall, they don't fall to their deaths. Using like releasing the rope line and then firing it back out to like swing with momentum, like stuff like that is really, really cool stuff. Then they reach the top and they reach the nest, and the nest is massive.
It is like a big giant bird nest, yeah.
Yeah, and we see a Mandalorian helmet in the like nest, and we realise that this has been going on for a lot longer, and it's not just taking younglings; it's taking like real Mandos. They can't see the child, who I believe is called Ragnar or Regnar.
I think I heard Ragnar.
Has Vizsla's son's name Ragnar? It is Ragnar. Ragnar. And so Paz runs into the nest without first clearing the area, and is surprised by 3 young offspring of the big pterodactyl monster. Then the big pterodactyl monster comes out of nowhere and regurgitates the child out of her mouth and like holds him above her children. She's like, "Come get your dinner, babies." And then Paz is like, "I'm not having that." And so he flies using his jetpack, knocks the kid out of the thing's mouth, gets locked in the thing's mouth, and the kid gets grabbed by the creature, and the creature flies off. Yeah. So we get a nice aerial battle with all the Mandalorians using their jetpacks. Bo-Katan gets knocked out of the air and loses one of her pauldrons, one of her shoulder armors.
Yeah.
A Mandalorian then knocks Paz out of the thing's mouth. I don't know if it is Din or if it's one of the random ones.
I think it was Din.
And then Paz obviously uses his jetpack to stop himself from falling to his death. We're now over a massive lake, and the thing's wing gets cut by one of the Mandalorians, and it lets go of Paz Vizsla's son. And who else comes in to save the day other than Mando? Good old Din Djarin. And he grabs the kid, and they land next to Paz, and Paz like grabs his son and holds him. He's like, "Are you okay?" And the kid's like, "Yes, I'm okay."
It's
father.
Like we're learning like Mandalorians fucking care.
And then the creature gets like tangled up in some wire, and its wings get cut like badly enough so it falls out of the air.
Yeah.
And it falls into the lake and is eaten by a big ass sea monster.
It's the same one from season 1.
Is it?
Yeah.
From season 1?
Not season 1. Beginning of this season.
What, the same kind of creature?
Yeah, I think it was the same type. Yeah. Not the same one, but the same type.
I'm gonna say because the one in episode 1's dead.
Yeah, I think it was the same type as that one.
They return to the Covert's base camp, and the kid is greeted with the Mandalorians doing like a Wakanda Forever symbol as they're like clanging their like embraces together.
Yeah.
Bo-Katan and Din walk out, and the armorer speaks to Bo-Katan, saying how she's fulfilled the greatest calling of the way,
saving a youngling.
Just to save a youngling. And then the armorer says that her armor has lost its integrity and that she needs replacement, so she needs to come with her. And they go into the forge, and Bo-Katan is getting a new pauldron made. It can't be made with the modern alterations that the rest of her armor has, so it is like Din's.
So basically they don't have the colour. Like, of course, obviously hers is silver, the one that she gets is silver, and the rest of her armor is like blue.
And white.
And white, yeah.
And then she's asked if she wants the symbol of the night owl put on, and she decides not to have it, and she decides to have the skull of the mythosaur as her symbol on
she
her
says,
right pauldron.
Because I think the armorer does tell her that the mythosaur is for all Mandalorians.
Indeed. Oh, also, they stole the 3 baby creatures.
Yeah, and they're going to keep
mention that. They stole the three creatures.
They're just going to keep them and train them.
Then Bo-Katan basically lets slip that she's seen a real-life mythosaur.
Well, she don't like so she basically says it.
Instead of the armorer being like, "Oh, yeah, we need to go and deal with that right now. We need to go and claim that mythosaur," the armorer goes, "It is a great thing. This is the way."
Either the armorer is being very cryptic, or she doesn't believe that.
No, I think the armorer believes, because there's no way that Bo-Katan was joining the way unless she had a reason to.
Yeah.
And I think her reason is she's finally found her faith.
Yeah, which is kind of cool because we even said that. Is she going to find her faith again? Is she going to find her faith because she saw it? Because maybe she didn't think they were real.
I mean, she thought mythosaurs were real.
But
she just didn't think that there were any left.
Because she didn't know there were any left, she didn't continue being a part of it. So now that she's obviously in again, maybe she's gonna stay with them. It seems that we are getting a lot more Bo-Katan this season than we did in previous seasons.
Yeah, it's weird because it's sort of become the Mandalorian plus Bo-Katan craze.
I want a Bo-Katan show. I think that'd be cool.
But I think that is where the episode ends for the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts, John? What did you think?
Obviously we were wary because of the length. I don't care now. That length was very justified.
Sometimes less is more, right?
Yeah, true. It was a good episode, really fun, good characters, seeing the story between Grogu and the Armorer, seeing the flashback to Order 66 was really unprecedented. I did not see that coming. And obviously, we've always wondered how Grogu got away. So now we know how he got away now, and it was definitely really cool to see Coruscant in two different timelines, in two different eras of its state.
Now we just need to figure out what happens to Kelleran Beq.
Yeah,
that's the new mystery, isn't it?
Yeah, true. We need to. Obviously, there is going to be a little bit of an overarching story, probably. But I'm really excited to see where this season goes.
Honestly, I'd probably be happy if the rest of this season was just random episodes of Mandalorian culture building.
I wouldn't mind because I've really enjoyed world building.
I never thought that I'd sit down and watch a group of Mandalorians in a hunting party and be satisfied with that being an episode of a Star Wars show. But it turns out I'm satisfied with it.
I'm satisfied with it. That was fantastic. I feel like that has to be my favourite episode of this season so far. That was just overwhelmingly good. It was fucking fantastic. The world building, seeing culture. Obviously, when it comes to movies and games and that, any storytelling, they obviously sometimes will, especially in sci-fi, they would create cultures from different people, and especially with Mandalorians, their culture is so rich and defined and stuff like that, and there was different cultures within their culture. Obviously, you had Death Watch.
It's a clan-based culture, similar to God, what is another clan-based culture? Similar to Native American tribes or orcs in many fantasy worlds. It's sort of built into different sects, and each sect sort of has their different religious beliefs or different values that they follow.
What we learned in Clone Wars. Clone Wars, you had your normal Mandalorians where they weren't even wearing armor. Really, they weren't all wearing armor. They were basically trying to become peaceful.
They They were the pacifist
Yeah, they were
Mandalorians.
pacifists. Then you had Death Watch, who wanted to go back to like the old ways, but they were still not. They were still allowing to take their helmet off and that.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Children of the Watch, which Din is a part of, where they take all of the old religions and believe in them still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weird thing is with like Mandalorian culture is in like history of like the Mandalorians. They're known as like a bloodthirsty race of people because their ideals is sort of just kill everything. And like it's just to like hunt and be as valuable as possible. And back when there was like, you know, loads of Sith and loads of Jedi like fighting, the Mandalorians never really had a side that they fought on.
No.
They basically fought whoever paid them or whoever's like
well,
code
really,
of honor
I'd say
followed theirs.
Bo-Katan and her sister, they were against the Separatists.
No, not the Separatists. I'm talking like Old Republic eras.
Old Republic, yeah.
Like when they were like when there were lots of different Mandalorian clans that didn't really get along.
Yeah, they were bloodthirsty.
They sort of just killed like Jedi, Sith, all that, and no one ever really trusted the Mandalorians because of it.
Yeah.
Until, of course, they became pacifist.
Yeah.
And now the Mandalorians that are left are the ones that secretly wanted to fight. The Children of the Watch, the
Children of the Watch still do stuff for money. Well, for Beskar mainly, because that's what Din mainly goes for. But it's also the fact that Din makes friends along the way. So he still obviously doesn't want to just be a killer. He only kills when it's necessary.
Yeah. But what would you rate the episode?
For me, this has to be the best one out of the season. So I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
I'm being serious. So far, this is the best episode of the season. Like, wow.
Far better than last week's, which was Dr. Pershing's Grand Adventure.
Even though I did
Mandalorian.
like that episode because we got to see how Coruscant was afterwards, it was really about Dr. Pershing and his experiments and that. But this episode was a lot more about culture in general and how Mandalorians have evolved over a long period of time. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this episode, to be honest with you. What about you?
I am very much in the same boat. I think this episode was absolutely phenomenal. From the Order 66 flashback to the hunting party to Bo-Katan's basically change of character. She has sort of fully gone into this group now with an open mind, and hearing
she's
her
no
say
longer
this
calling
is the way.
them. She's no longer calling them zealots like she used to.
She seems to like understand that while the Children of the Watch may not be what she is used to, with like the helmet removal thing, they are like not crazy. They aren't like Death Watch fanatics that are trying to like bring down the Empire. They are just a group of people that are trying to survive, and seeing her like understand that and come to terms with all that has been really, really nice.
Yeah, she's obviously been conflicted, and we thought this season was just going to be her and Din fighting each other and going for Darksaber. But
to be fair, there's been like very little focus on the Darksaber.
Yeah, mainly that was like, I think he's only used it once. Even Bo-Katan's used it.
Yeah, I feel like eventually we're gonna get to a point where Bo-Katan sort of teaches Din how to wield it.
Yeah, because he wields it like he's waiting for it to have weight.
Yeah.
Like he thinks it's gonna have weight to it, which it doesn't. Really, it doesn't have weight to it. So that's what he's used to.
But out of all of it, I think my favourite part was Grogu putting that kid in his place.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
That was so funny.
I legit gasped and laughed so much of that. That was funny.
Grogu, never change, my friend, never change.
No, Grogu definitely needs to stay the same.
If I was to rate this episode, probably a solid 9.6. I think that's the highest I've ever given, other than the 10 I gave to last of us episode. I think this one solid 9.6. It wasn't perfect. I do think the baby bird creature things had a bit of weird CGI when they came out of the ship. Other than that, I loved this episode. I think this episode was fantastic. I'm not nitpicking at any CGI issues because it's a very ambitious project, and to do as much as they do with the flying spaceships, the lightsabers, the fully rendered background so that actors can act in an environment that they can actually see. It's all phenomenal. Yeah. So 9.6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jordan?
No, that's about it. I think you've said everything that needs to be said, and I've said everything that needs to be said.
Well, in that case, I hope that everyone did enjoy this review of The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 4, Chapter 20, The Foundling. If you did like it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help the channel. If you didn't like it, don't dislike. Engagement is engagement. I have been...
and by the way, we're not the only YouTubers who tell you to dislike if you dislike. There's many that do it, but yeah, either way, it's engagement. Dislikes really don't matter. Dislikes are a positive thing, apparently. They
don't even appear.
No.
They don't even appear anymore, so
we can see them.
I don't care.
We can see them.
We can see them, but you guys can't.
You guys can't.
But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all that nonsense that every YouTuber asks you to do. I have been the host for this review, Azteral.
I have been your other host for this review, Slasher.
And until next week and the next episode, we will see you guys next time. This is the way.
This is the way.
Forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them.
It's over, Anakin!